everybody, and welcome to week 4 of the NLC. My name is Hitbrain, and I am joined by Aragon as we're getting ready to go into our first day of matches. Aragon, first of all, hello. How you doing, mate? You all right?
Hello, Hitbrain. Yeah, I'm super excited to see how the day pans out, man. I can't wait to get started.
I think we got a good day coming up, and I think without further ado, let's just bring up the schedule for today and see what games we got coming, because we got some pretty banger games, to be fair. Be starting, that's not today. Hold the phone. That's a little bit wrong.
The wrong schedule.
All right, well, hopefully we'll have the right one in a second. I guess while we wait for that, I think the big one we also got to talk about, and when that comes up, is going to be match 2.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you've been following NLC, you'll probably have a good idea of what our match of the week is going to be. And we are basically starting the week on it as well. Nord versus Riddle. 2 teams who are 6-0 right now in the standings and do look absolutely terrifying. That is our second game of the day. We have Domino versus Nativz, Nord versus Riddle, Veneer versus Ruddy, and Unique versus Verdant. I'm not going to ask you about that game 2 yet. Which of these other games do you think might be a bit of a sleeper banger?
Yeah, so, I mean, I think we're really blessed, right? Because we get to see a lot of the middle of the pack kind of, shape up. I think Unique versus Verdant's going to be really interesting. As much as it was kind of one-sided in terms of predictions, everyone says Verdant's going to win, which I agree with. I think we have a really close middle of the pack with, like, Veneer, Domino, Unique, and Verdant. And finally, we will see some shape take place there. I think Domino versus Nativz is going to be interesting. I believe Nativz is playing with a new jungler, so maybe we see, some resurgence there. And I want to continue seeing Domino's, they have some brilliant moments, and I want to see them stomp Nativz here. I want them to make their mark.
Yeah, prove to us that they are, a team of the caliber that we kind of have an expectation of them from seeing their previous games. I think the big thing is when you're looking at the scores for these games, all of the teams playing are in relatively close proximity to each other than the Ruddy Veneer, which is the only game where there's a 2-game lead between the 2 teams. But even so, relatively close compared to it's still relatively close. It's only 2 games. So I think, like you said, Domino versus Nativz, this could mean a lot towards the end of the split and whereabouts you are. You don't want to be in that bottom 2, and winning a game here could genuinely make the difference on that front. I think what we should also do is just bring up those predictions from you guys on Twitter and us, the casters, see what everybody has voted for. Pretty much exactly the same thing around the board, except for Twitter going for Nord over Riddle here. Aragon, you did have a little bit of a thought about this actually as well, because you were thinking this could be Nord's game.
Yeah, so at the beginning of the split, I actually tweeted out that Riddle would win the entire thing, so I had to stick with it, But I definitely think, there's a definite chance that Nord could actually come out on top here. They're incredibly, incredibly powerful, individually, and I think this game is just going to be an absolute banger, because I don't think it's going to be as one-sided as the predictions, and I think Twitter might get it right over us.
I mean, me or Twitter are going to break away from each other. We're both on 19. We've both been sharing our predictions for pretty much the whole split. So it's going to be fun for us to finally figure out who's better, me or Twitter. I goddamn hope it's me. But let's actually turn our attention towards that second game of the day, our match of the week, Nord versus Riddle. This is going to be a really, really good game, Aragon. I mean, both of these teams undefeated right now, both 6-0 overall in the standings. I know you had a lot you wanted to talk about, and I think we should probably start with just some clips from some of the games that we've seen, because you talked to me prior to this, and we kind of got some clips ready to just focus on a player each for one of these teams.
I mean, take a look at this. This is a play from Fire Rain, right? So I highlighted 2 players. Take a look at this. They cannot see Fire Rain here, and watch his snipe to find an engage, which wins a Herald fight just straight up. Look at that. And then because there's no engage from Cly, he has no ulti now because he's dead. They can just run over the fight. And all these plays, the player I wanted to highlight here was Fire Rain. Last week, he really stepped up. Right, he stepped up and kept finding these engages after engages after engages. And in the game versus Domino, for example, he also found a fight where they were down 5k. He was playing Swain and managed to turn the entire game around on his own. I believe we have another clip from another player in that game. Oh, no, this is the same. This is the same team. This is fine. Fire Rain. Look, watch this clip. This one's a bit longer, but watch him. He's playing Swain. And look how he tethers people on the bottom end of the fight. Bear in mind, they're down 5k here. And he keeps them interested until he goes untouched, finds his moment to go in, and then he just wins the fight solo. 5k down. Look at his whole team's dead, but he never stops dying. Right? And at this point, they just don't have the damage to kill him because the fight's gone on so long, and they just clean up and bring the game back. And honestly, props to Domino here. They really put up a fight against Riddle, and this is why I'm saying I really want to see a stomp out of Domino this today, because they have real moments of brilliance.
Yeah, and I think this is the thing about Domino's. Yeah, that was a clip of them losing, but even so, they are a team who are going to be really, really good. Now, on the other side, I believe you do have another player that you wanted to highlight on the other side of
Yes.
the team. So, talk us through this and why you've highlighted this player in
Watch this
particular.
sidestep on Kasing right now. Unfortunately, we missed it. But Kasing, right? What I'm highlighting here is Kasing's movements on the map, his ability to find engages, and normally you don't normally find highlights of supports mechanics, right? I'll just be honest, it's how it is. But Kasing is here, is playing Nautilus, and at the start of this fight, he really finds a well-timed sidestep onto No Name's Q. Right, his dash on No Name's Q, right, which is really insane because sidestepping as Nautilus is incredibly difficult. He's just such a huge hitbox, right? So I just wanted to highlight Kasing. I don't think he's getting enough love. And then watch this Ash Arrow. I believe we're going to see.
Okay.
Kasing once again finding the Ash Arrow to find and engage. Can't quite see it. It's right at the beginning of the clip, but he finds the arrow onto Crispin, pegs him right in the chest, finds the stun and the engage. Yeah, we can see it here. I think right at the start. There it is. And this gives them Baron, and they end the game with a great, a great engage from there. So I just want to highlight Kasing because I feel like all the praise is going to Akabane, and wow, rightfully so. They're all playing amazingly. But yeah, some love towards Kasing here.
Yeah, I mean, Kasing has always been a very consistent player, and he's played in this region for a very long time at this point. Kind of moved straight out from the top end of EU over on NLC, and obviously formerly EU LCS. Joining us in the UK scene, which then merged and came the NLC. Like, he has been a staple player and always been on one of the top teams the whole time. It's a bit sad, but we haven't really seen him have his moment in the sun, especially when it comes to EU Masters or now MEA Masters. Hopefully, maybe this could be the time where we actually do see, Kasing actually kind of show us what he's made of, because we know he's a very capable player. We did, before we move on from this game, we did actually also get a graphic that you were going to bring up as well, Aragon.
Yeah.
Someone on Twitter who you can give a shout out to actually put this graphic together for us, and it kind of demonstrates some of the differences between both of these teams, right?
Yeah, no, exactly, right? So shout out to Dan Holt, coach, putting together this really nice graphic to showcase just how statistically strong these teams are. It's funny because if you take a look at the stats, they are completely opposite to what Caster's predictions are, right? So maybe on the eye test level, you see Riddle as a better team, but their stats are much worse, right? Compared to Nord's stats, showing Nord maybe is the more consistent team. But then again, Riddle did have an off week last week, I think in one game, and they extended their game. They probably ruined a lot of their stats. So how much did that matter in terms of stats, which might make them a bit misleading? I think that's really interesting because it really does go to show that, stats and how it looks is very different.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you can see just in the game time there, Nord are first, Riddle are 10th. It shows when Nord get ahead, they are very confident and very controlled in how they close the game out. Riddle do take a little bit longer. Now, that can come down to, they were 5k down from the likes of Domino. They are taking a little bit longer and are making a few mistakes. So that could lead into that. But I think we'll move on from match of the week, and we obviously have that coming up a little bit later. Third game of the day is going to be Ruddy versus Veneer. I want, just a quick thought on these games and how you think this is going to go down.
So I think Ruddy will win, right? I think Veneer are inconsistency incarnate. That's just how they are when I see them. It's really incredibly frustrating to watch them play because I think they have a lot of potential, right? I see glimmers of hope and really good plays. 1 second they're finding insane flanks mid game and playing a really good team onto Nord of all people, and then the next second they int and throw it all away, right? So I just want them to find their footing. I want to see them step up and maybe bridge that gap, because I think they can genuinely be a 4th place team.
Yeah,
or
absolutely.
They're going to be the 7th place team. It's really difficult. And in terms of go on.
I know the inconsistency is a major problem. You do need to, you do need to prove that you can be more than a team that are good or bad. You need to either be consistently you just need to be consistently good. If you're going to be on and off, then it's very hard to actually look at where you need to be progressing. So yeah, I want to see that, but we'll move on from that game. Obviously, our final game of today is going to be Unique versus Verdant. This is a team that are 2-4 and 3-3 right now. What are we making of this game? Where are our hopes? Because everyone was leading Verdant in the voting. There's only one game between them, but we're all pretty confident in Verdant being the team that are going to take this one.
Yeah, I think this is the hardest one to predict. Not because it's that hard to predict, but all the other ones are probably going to be quite stumpy. Maybe not the second game, but regardless, I think these teams are a lot closer than it looks, no matter what the predictions are. But I do think Verdant will edge it out. I think they have better players overall on every single position. I think a highlight lane to look at is probably top lane, because you have Nihus versus Nile, who Nile honestly kind of looks like the best performing top laner in the league outside of WoW, maybe. I mean, there's probably debate there. I think Nile's better, honestly. Whereas Nihus seems to be struggling, right? So is that pressure point going to be too much for Unique? We'll have to see.
Well, I believe we had a video, right? Am I crazy? I think we have a video for who is it from? Is it Verdant? I don't know. I guess it's Verdant. Let's just roll that video and see. I have no idea what I'll find out. So
no, do I?
It's time for Guess That Team. The Verdant boys have been given the 5 nationalities of players from an NLC Division 1 roster and have to tell us which team it is. Let's see how they did.
It's Domino. That's Domino's pizza.
Domino.
Oh yeah, that is Domino. Norwegian mid lane. Yeah. I know the Norwegian.
It is Domino, it's Domino.
That's Verdant. Verdant.
Yeah, ready. Ready it up.
Can that be Verdant?
Verdant. That's my team. Unique.
Unique you.
A unique you.
Unique.
Vanir. That's Riddle.
No, Riddle.
Riddle.
That's Riddle. That's Riddle for sure.
That's all I need to know, Riddle.
I don't know the team.
Nativz.
I don't know. I don't know more NLC teams.
It's not Nord. It's not. Is it Nativz?
Oh, that's Nativz. Oh, that's Ruddy.
Oh yeah. That's the Ruddy roster. Yeah.
Oh, that's Ruddy.
Roddy. It's Roddy.
Oh, it's Vanir.
That's Vanir.
I don't know that one. Vanir.
Vanir? That's Nord. Yeah.
That's Nord.
Yeah, that's Nord.
That's Nord.
That's Nord.
Do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso.
Tom kicking, thanks man. Actually, just killing that. That was so good. I'd be awful at that. I
Yeah,
realized
me
I was
too.
watching it the whole time and I was like, no idea. I'm so bad. I'm sorry. I don't know where people's nationality are. I cast the players, you know, and then I don't know any more than that. I'm awful for that. Yeah, I would have sucked at that.
Yeah,
I really
I think
would
I would have
have.
got 2. I would have got Riddle and Ruddy because there's like double
Yeah, I
UK, double
got those
Korea.
2.
I think that's it.
Yeah, I got
I'm
those
awful.
2, but they were almost too easy, weren't they?
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
you see the England flag or the British flag in the bottom on the support. You're like, well, that's Kasing because he's the only British support in the league. So I don't know. That one was a little easy. Aragon, we would have taken the easy wins. Let's
Great
turn our
concept.
attention though towards our first game of the day. This is going to be Domino taking on Nativz. What are we making of these teams? What are we expecting going into this game?
Okay, so far I've been impressed with Domino, right? I want to see them play to their strengths, which is Fjumpbun still. Fjumpbun is very clearly the carry of this team. I think last week they brought in a new jungler called Siakal. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing, but he played extremely well. I saw him play pretty well around skirmishes, you know, in teamfights, finding nice flanks. I want to see their drafts continue to make a lot of sense too, because right now a lot of teams struggle with drafts that have champions that complement each other and like play towards a theme. So I really like the fact that they do. They have incredibly good drafts. I don't know who's doing it, but well done. Keep that up. And I think as for a weakness, they have issues with vision. So like, for example, they were going for top lane tower. They didn't sweep on the way behind them. They ended up getting TP flanked. I think that's something they could look at mid game. Yeah. Now on the side of Nativz, it's incredibly hard, right? I think they've had a really hard split. I still think the best iteration of Nativz we saw was Double Enchanter, where you put Unexpected, who seems to have been struggling on his own, on a more supported pick like Karma, and you ban out the counters that if you want to, and you just take the L. You're going to go down some CS, but you know, I think that's the best version that you play for a carry in jungle. Unfortunately, I do believe they've swapped out their jungler. I think Flawed was playing extremely well from an eye test. We never know what's going on behind the scenes, but I think Flawed was playing extremely well, and you play for him. Maybe the new jungler can do something similar.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see. Obviously, there are a few changes as well. Week 4, we are now starting on 13-1B. Some pretty major changes there. Yumi is just full on dead. They absolutely gutted her. Changes to the Grievous Wound items as well. We talked a little bit about that off stream, Aragon, but you were saying, you know, you can now sit on things like Bramble. You don't have to complete the Thorn Mail, and they kind of made it so you can buy your first part of the Executioner's items or your Grievous Wounds items, and then eventually, finish it up later down the line. But it's not like when you buy Oblivion Orb, you want to finish the Putrefier or the Morellonomicon, you can just sit on the Oblivion Orb for a bit. What other changes are there? What other changes are we maybe expecting to affect this champ select?
So we've been fortunate enough to see globally drafts, right? Because there's like a couple regions now, I think on 13.1b as well. This is the first day for the NLC, and it's been memed quite a bit, but it's pretty much just Lucian, Nami, Zeri, Lulu handshake over and over and over again. I think that's not as interesting. The other interesting changes to me are like the jungle changes in terms of priorities. I'm a big fan of Elise Sejuani now with Maokai as well in that kind of trifecta. I think those are like really good picks. I think there's a rise of Azir. Azir is doing extremely well statistically. Like it's blind pick most of the time. It still has like a 60% win rate globally. It's really insane. Jax is still Jax. Jax is incredibly broken. Death of Yumi, like you mentioned. Ashe is incredibly game warping and is often like a blue side ban because it can get priority 1v2 in the lane. It's really disgusting. And some other minor changes are like priority of AD mid, top, and AP junglers, and then also like Jay's flex. You know, there's a rise of Sion, stuff like this. I think these are the biggest changes.
This is also the patch where I believe Navari and Infinity Edge were changed from 60% to 40% crit to become like activatable items. Do you think that actually affects the build for the AD carry specifically? Because I don't think we're going to see as many GPs as I'd like. So do you feel like, you know, are they going to be prioritizing the Navari or the Infinity Edge a second, or do you think that's still an item they need to pick up a little later?
In terms of build order, like statistically, there's almost never any reason to not go that. I think there are some builds with, for example, if you lock in Varus, the build is like Shieldbow Wit's End or something like this, and you play on hit and there's no IE. So not every single champion will be building that, but most of them are just going IE or the Warrior second, and it's just the best in slot. I think there was something else I want to talk about. Oh yeah, just bot lane, Draven, Caitlyn. I don't think we have any Draven Caitlyn teams on our teams in our league. I think maybe Nord could pull it out. They seem pretty competent with double ranged with the Caitlyn. I think those are probably the only changes.
Yeah, well, apparently, there we go. We have a few issues getting into draft, but we are halfway through. So you can see the Ashe Sivir lane has been picked up for Nativz, along with that Gragas there. Jace, Wukong, and Maokai banned away from the side of Nativz. Over to Domino, though. They have picked themselves up a Ziggs and a Nautilus with the Olaf, Elise, and Jax ban away, looking for their final pick just to round out their team comp for now for the side of Domino. We'll see what they're going to look to pick up here. Looks like they're going to try and play in towards Flumpbun and pick up the Renekton. Obviously, with the things like the Jace ban, they can make a couple more target bans towards this top side and just get Flumpbun as comfortable in that top lane as possible.
Yeah, so we have a lot of interesting picks here. Interestingly to me, though, is that Ashe went through. Ashe just gets priority into everything. So right now what I'm looking at is an extremely volatile bot side if one of them gets hooked. But honestly, bot lane should just get priority for the side of Nativz. I imagine what will happen is eventually you're just going to end up leaving Ziggs on his own bot lane and Nautilus is going to end up roaming and you end up playing around Fjumpbun because, like I said, Fjumpbun is the carry for this team. They've early locked in their Renekton. He has been performing extremely well in Renekton, managing to make leads, creating roam opportunities. That's basically how he's been getting leads generally. He just gets like a roam off like in the middle of early laning phase and it just works, right? So he's been doing extremely well there. Right now they're going to look to ban some more mid laners and junglers. All the top tier junglers have been taken off. I'm looking at Elise, Maokai, Sejuani as the top tier. Now you're going to go down a tier. I think Vi is the only one left of the really top tier. After that, you pretty much have you can pick whatever you want, pick of the litter, you know. On the side of Domino, you're just banning a bunch of mid laners now. One thing that stands out to me is still Azir. I think Azir is incredibly powerful right now and is a go-to blind, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that banned too.
Yeah, I feel like that's not a bad ban. It's also not a bad pickup for what Nativz have already drafted here. When you got the long range Ashe engage, you've got the belly bop as well, the cask plus the shove. There's a lot of kind of displacement and movement they can do in teams. So it actually would fit in very well with their team. And like you're saying, just a really solid pick. And at the moment, it looks like it has been left open. The Aurelia getting banned out here. See what the final pick, well, the final couple of pickups are going to be. Domino first up, obviously looking most likely towards that jungle and then looking to get counterpicked mid unless they want to put priority on something like an Azir. There are still plenty of other mid lane pickups up and available for them. So running down the timer, just taking a little bit of time to think about what they want to be rafting here. And they are just going to be looking to lock in that Diana, assuming that's going jungle, to be completely honest with you. And we'll see what Nativz are now going to finish up and round up their draft with. Because remember, that Gragas is technically flexible between that top and that jungle role.
Yeah, I just wanted to highlight here that Domino have actually picked a flex pick. Last week, they picked Renekton early and flexed it mid. Shaolin can play Renekton, albeit I wasn't the most impressed, but, it was serviceable. It worked, and they got an early lead versus Nord, right? So clearly, I think they picked that as a flex pick, which is why, in turn, Nativz have banned Aurelia, just in case Renekton goes mid, and Nativz' blind pick wants an Aurelia ban. It might be the Gragas top. Gragas top is a pretty decent neutral pick at the moment. It works into Renekton's decent blind, so maybe Spuda just called for that, Instead, we're going to get as a blind pick, not a blind pick, rather. We don't really know who Syndra is playing into because it's just Flex City on the side of Domino. I'm really liking this draft. Just a bit worried if they get too over creative. I want to see them round out with a nice comp. Is that Yasuo? Yasuo Diana combo?
That is a Yasuo. Oh, they've done it. The Yasuo Diana combo. Excuse everything going on your screen right now, but you can see in the top right the chat select.
Over here.
That is a spooky team, actually.
Yeah.
Yasuo is one of those duos where it just feels unfun. She slides in, sets him up, and they're not really worrying too much about the AP, the lack of AP, so to speak, sorry, as they have got the Ziggs in the bot lane. They obviously had the Diana in the jungle, so there's a nice damage spread between them. They don't have a traditional tank, so to speak, but with the Renekton and the Nautilus, they have more than enough kind of front line to be able to provide them, good ways to fight. And obviously, Ziggs can cut off entrances to the jungle as well. There's a lot of tools that Domino have drafted here. I am loving this.
Hip brain. Okay, picture you're playing Syndra. You're a mid laner, right?
Yeah.
Picture your Syndra, you hit level 6, and then the Nautilus comes with Diana ulti and Yasuo ulti.
Yeah, this is why I don't play Syndra, because if they do pick like a highly mobile and kind of like point and click lockdown game, Syndra every Syndra player is just like, here we go again. This is gonna be, this is gonna be a stand under your tower and just clear waves game as a Syndra. That is your game plan, because if you step out remotely too far, you will get jumped on here, at least post-6. At pre-6, there's a bit of more room to kind of bully out the Yasuo and try and control and shove in the lane as much as possible. And then I think it really falls down to their jungler. How are they going to be navigating this game? Mid-early, you do expect the Syndra to kind of have control of this lane. So, that then buys breathing room for your jungler. What is their game plan? What are they going to do? I think we've hit quite a lot on Domino's win condition. I'm curious about Nativz. What do you think Nativz win condition is here?
So I actually think Nativz, they have a little bit of a timer, in my opinion. I think Nativz, they get perma prio in mid and bot, like you're saying. I want to touch on what you said there. And what they can do with that is invade with Zinza with their permanent prio from a double AD carry bot lane and put behind the Diana. I think that's incredibly key, and I want to see some proactivity from the side of Nativz to shut down the Diana, like Invader, be a general nuisance, right? So that the level 6 and the Herald fight isn't on an even playing field. Because I think then, if you get to a Herald fight where the Diana, Yasuo, and the Nautilus just come and press R on you, and you're even, you're just going to lose, right? You're just straight up going to lose. The composition is too powerful. Yasuo, in his own right, counters Syndra in isolation, right? Like, it's a really, really good matchup. And then with all this hard engage, it's really brutal. So I think what Nativz have to do is put behind this Diana using their priority. That's what I want to see. Oh. Hiprain, I think you're muted, mate.
I'm a plonker.
Nice.
No, I totally agree. I think, you want to be putting this Diana behind, but there's still that element of, like, all she really has to do is dash in and ult. And once that Diana ult hits and the Yasuo follows, and then the Ziggs bomb comes down, there's a lot of follow-up. There's a lot of chain kind of damage that they can throw out here. But we are getting ready, and we are on to the Rift for our first game of the day between Nativz and Domino. See how this game goes down. I'm loving Domino's draft. I think I've been quite vocal about that one. But keep our eyes on how this game is going to break out. As this Sivir and Ashe lane, you are into a Ziggs, but you're going to have some serious shove, especially early, because Ziggs kind of needs that Ludens to be able to really take over the lane and just perma shove. Once that Ludens comes in, it does get a little bit better. I mean, at least having that the Lost Chapter does help a bit, but until, at least that Lost Chapter comes in, Larry and Snabby probably going to just be playing a little bit on the back foot here. So overall, Nativz, they've got quite a lot of prior to start off with.
Yeah, no, completely. And I think it's going to be really difficult to deal with that early. Like, looking at that Ashe, I'm terrified. I don't know if you've seen much Ashe globally right now, but essentially she just hits you with Halo Blades, gets all 3 stacks of the Spectral Sickle, and there is no trade back because you have chunked so hard. And this is the early priority I wanted to see the use. They have a lot of range advantage here. Nautilus has a hook, but they've decided, you know what, we're going to concede it. We're going to map split bot lane. And this is exactly what I want to see, because now, with this map split bot lane, the only win condition that Snabby has on this Nautilus is to hook in lane. But when you're map split on, you don't want to get chunked because you might be dived, right, with this mid priority from the Syndra. So you just have to sit under your tower, and eventually you're going to start losing plates. Plates recently did get buffed to be like, I believe it's 160 gold, 180 gold or something like this. So that will be an extreme weakness here.
Alrighty, well, the game has started out, and we are seeing Snabby. He currently did just go for an invade, actually. I totally missed that he's taken away the red buff from Seabull here. Seabull obviously... Actually, wait, no, sorry. Seabull's invading him.
You lost me there.
They've cross-mapped. I did not even notice. I'm just having a complete brain fart. I'm like, junglers in their jungle? That must be the lane they play for. That must be the team they're playing for. But here we go. Seabull now moving in to his side of the jungle. This does mean, obviously, with the fact that Seabull's bot side is going to have a serious amount of prio, this does build him a lot of space, a lot of room. So I'm interested to see, what he's going to do with that. The Hawk shot does go out as well, and I believe that spotted out Shackle. They'll at least know roughly what he's been up to. So it's going to be a bit of I guess, kind of just a slower game for the side of Spuda. In the top side, he is obviously going to be... Oh, hello. We're back. Yeah. We're back to us. I believe there's a few sound issues, and I think that's probably what we are back on us for. But yeah, I feel like this game, with the fact that you split the map in half, where the prio is going to be. I think everybody's just going to accept what side of the map they're on, if they're on the weak side or if they're on the strong side. And I think that would probably just be the case. They're going to have to just relax out for a moment and just catch these waves. I guess, what we can look at then, Aragon, is, where do you expect the plays to go down? Where do you expect, it doesn't have to be a kill, but where do you think, the kind of big action's going to be? And, the first major move, I guess, of the game.
Yeah. I think if players mess up on weak side, right, I think that's a big avenue, because Renekton's obviously notorious for diving. I think Gragas does have to mess up, though, because if Gragas is full HP, that dive is not happening with that damage reduction and natural beefiness and CC. So I think if Spuda messes up on weak side, that is definitely a dive angle. The exact same for the other side of the map, too. I think Ziggs and Nautilus can get dived if they get chunked too much, right, because they can bring down Syndra with mid priority as well. Yeah. I think that's definitely another avenue. Then the obvious answer is level 6. I will say that Domino don't hate this, right? It's pretty miserable that they don't hate this, because now they can play for Fjumpbun. Fjumpbun has free reign to permanently trade and set up dives as well with some wave management. And Diana gets to scale to level 6 uncontested, right? With the top side of the map just permanently farming rather than being invaded. So I don't think this is the end of the world for them. I will say I don't think much is going to happen. I feel like the teams will play safe, right? On that weak side, they won't get chunked too hard, and I think we'll see action at about the 8-minute mark at Herald.
Okay, so then is that going to be Nativz setting it up? Because obviously we're talking about how Domino are going to be happy with this. It's going to allow their jungler just to catch 6 on that Diana for free. But Nativz, we've said, first of all, they're probably going to fall off quite hard compared to Domino's lineup and what they've drafted here. So the question is what are they going to do? What are Nativz going to do with the current state of the game? Then what is their game plan for these first 8 minutes? Are they going to look to set up for the Herald and grab their hands on that, or do you think maybe the jungle has other options?
I think it's really difficult. Your other options include cross-mapping bot as well, right? Because contesting Herald against a level 6 Diana, Yasuo, Nautilus, it doesn't sound like my cup of tea, with like loads of immobile AD carries and like an Ashe Severe type deal. Yeah, that doesn't sound great to me, right? Whereas early game, I think what else you can do is perma-push in the bot lane and take plates gradually, because you're going to naturally take about 2 plates, I think, in the early lane phase, because you're just free hitting the tower under tower with 2 AD carries, right? So I think your alternative is to try and cross-map, maybe dive or something bot side, which is difficult, granted, but maybe that's your alternate play.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hopefully these technical issues will be resolved fairly soon, and we will be able to get back into our first game. We are just waiting. Oh, there we go. The magic words were said.
Nice.
It's my bad. The casters forgot to start the game again. Here we are. We are in it for the game. As expected, having shoved in this lane. Like I said, Larry's going to need a bit of time, a couple of minutes, to at least that Ludens to be able to get full control and one. He is probably just going to be playing a little bit more relaxed. There's what you see for that very reason. He suffer so much on the old mana front. A little bit of jumping in the mid lane. I don't really think they're going to be going for too much more. Shaolin did flash out. Yes. Looks like he is going to be A-okay. They did actually have Seaball. I didn't see Seaball underneath Unexpected's icon on the minimap, so I was like, huh. There's a jungler there. Speaking of junglers being there, looking for the hook, it is going to get flashed away there by Remix to get the bot back onto Baloo, as now he has to flash out as well. Shackle's keeping the pressure up, and it looks like they've just about been able to turn that and walk away, but a big chunk and both of the flashes down on Remix and Baloo to kick it off.
Yep, good flash for Remix here, but the re-engage...
He eats a hook? What was that? He just walked into it. I mean, that's a massive mistake.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of disrespect thinking maybe Shackle went immediately back to farming, right? Really bizarre stuff from Baloo. It's like he's impatient and just doesn't wait out. You know, the fact that maybe he could re-gank because their flashes are blown, right? That's the whole idea of re-ganking. So I guess Shackle just takes a free kill, and this is exactly what you don't want to see because like we said, Nativz are on a timer and now they're behind. Right, I will highlight that Baloo has had some quite iffy deaths. I don't know if you remember way back to like week 1 and 2, that Heimerdinger invade where he just dies, or they just die level 1.
Yes.
Right, so a little bit of a miscoordination coming out again. Pretty consistent issue that we've seen.
Yeah, a bit of a mistake there from Baloo. I say a bit of a mistake, a pretty rough one as well, because we were talking about how Shackle wants to just kind of farm up to 6. They get a gank where they're basically wasting time. You know, they're not being able to take farm as they are just going for the gank, but at the end of the day, it pays off. He gets the gold. He's got his Hextech Alternator already finished up and has that kill. So he's got the experience that follows with it. Remix does end up losing a little bit of HP here to Larry, but I think he's just wanting a reset. Wanting to make sure this wave does somewhat shove in. Is Baloo walking up. Obviously feels comfortable behind the minion wave, which Larry makes quick work of. So isn't going to be able to go for too much more. Now, Shackle, level 5, has only recently just ticked over to it, so I don't think he's going to be going in on Unexpected anytime soon. Both of these mids have used their teleports. So Shackle, actually, he's pretty close to 6 now. So has to go to his other side of the map if he wants to hit that 6 mark, unfortunately. So won't be going for a play there, although red buff is spawning up. Spooder right now is playing weak side, as expected. You know, his jungler was playing on the other side of the map at the beginning of the game. So he has fallen back a little bit to Flumpbun, who is pressuring him pretty heavily in this top side.
Lots of pings coming down. I think they're starting up Dragon right now to secure the neutrals, to potentially try and accelerate themselves in. I will say this is a bit sketchy because the Dragon's only just been started. Diana could come down, and there are no flashes for Remix and Baloo. They just got popped. So this is the danger, right? Early game, if you are an early game composition and you want to force, having no summoners now for a composition that can lock you down like this, I don't think they can do this, right? Look at that Hex Flash coming down. He's just going to hook in.
Yep, he does miss that hook. Luckily for the side of Nativz. Big thing to note, Flumpbun hasn't used his teleport. Spooder used his to get back to top side. So with this in mind, Nativz might just have to give up this dragon. Tornado zoning, traps zoning. Not going to land it with the boomerang blade. And Domino, just get a free dragon.
Getting a dragon this early, it's really something. I don't like using the word desperation, but there was no... Like, it was impossible to start that, right? Having no flashes on an immobile 80 carry bot lane composition is really rough versus a lot of hard engage, right? Versus, like, this hard engage of potentially a level 6, you know how you have all the ults, you have hook, everything like this. You are just a sitting duck. So starting the dragon like that, getting chunked, you know, even if Zinzao got hit, right, and flashed away, it's still really rough because then you lose playmaking tools like level 6 and everything like this. So I want to reiterate just how crucial it was that Remix and Baloo lost those flashes early because now your playmaking is really limited.
Yeah, it's definitely really slowed them down quite a lot. And also Baloo, pretty far behind in experience right now. Obviously, Remix getting a bit of free time after Baloo died. Has only just ticked over to that 5, so hasn't quite got the Enchanted Crystal Arrow up to really set up that that non-committal long-range engage this team has. But then again, you also are playing into a Yasuo, so later a Wind Wall just kind of shuts that down, and it's less you can just fire them out willy-nilly and hope that it's going to land, because unfortunately, if the Yasuo's not CC'd, odds are he's just going to put that Wind Wall up and protect his team.
Yeah, and they are moving into the Herald. They're starting it up, actually. They're just confident they can do this. They've got the level 7 Diana and the level 6 Yasuo combo. Level 8 Yasuo, rather. He's accelerated. Diana's accelerated. There's no way this is contestable because they're rotating now, but it's way too late. Look at Baloo. He's running up river, and this Herald is just going to ding. He's going to realize, wait, what's going on, and run back down. I think this is an incredible play. I think the hook lands.
Yeah, he's going to eat it, and the last breath, Shaolin just gifted the kill. Siebel, a little bit optimistic for him to try and walk up there, but unfortunately, isn't going to be too much more. Shackle, he has the Rift Herald, he has Snabby and Spuda. He's very much aware where this team is, and this is probably just going to be first Tower Blood. Nice and early. Domino really putting a stamp down on this game. They decide not to go for that first Tower Blood. They're comfortable with front bun is going to be able to pick up at least a couple of plates here, or at least just the one. Ooh. And they may just look to try and actually put the Herald down in the mid side, get some plates over to Shaolin, but also, you know, you want to open this tower up, at least on that second Rift Herald, because you're into a Syndra, you're into a Sivir. Later, actually pushing and taking these towers is going to be so hard for the side of Domino when there's just almost an infinite amount of wave clear available to Nativz.
No, absolutely, right. But then you got to question, how far ahead are they? Right? Can they just tower dive? Because we're getting to a point where I'm really concerned. They decided not to place the Herald top lane. I completely agree with everything you're saying. I also think the fact that if you place Herald top lane now, you end the laning phase of top lane. And I'm pretty sure Fjumpun's pretty happy just constantly bullying out Spuda. He's got a natural CS lead on top of taking natural plates on his own. So I think they could just save the Herald, continue to let him get Demolish Proc top lane free plates, and then use the Herald elsewhere. Maybe you accelerate the Yasuo or the other AP threat in the Ziggs, you know, because Herald charge plus a satchel could just be the death of bot lane turret, you know, and that way you get more gold overall with that Herald. Does look like that might be the play, but we'll have to see as the timer runs down.
Yeah, I think that is something to kind of note as well. When you got Ziggs, towers, they're not as tanky as they normally are. They're basically effectively missing a big chunk of health because Ziggs can just pop them and guarantee the tower going down. So you are kind of playing with less health on your turret. And it looks like Domino now rotating their entire bot side of the map over towards this mid lane with the Herald in the pocket of Shackle. Dragon not up for another minute, but they are just going to pressure up and look to get the plates started up. Expect to see the Rift Herald go down in the next few seconds. With the Ziggs here, they are guaranteeing that this tower does go down.
And look at Baloo, right? He's only just arrived because he can't walk any faster. He's forced to go the long way round because he's really scared of walking to vision. Look at that line of vision just above Dragon for the side of Domino. Baloo can't go anywhere near that, so he has to take 10 to 15 seconds to walk further around to eventually defend the Rift Herald, right?
They stopped the charge.
Yeah, the Rift Herald charge got stopped. Wait, I didn't even notice that. Wait, what? That's a very interesting use.
Oh, no.
That's a disaster.
That is so bad because they had the satchel down and they were guaranteed that tower with plates. And unfortunately, really solid stuff coming in from Nativz. Remix is going to eat this. He can't really use the spell shield. He flashes. He's out. Great arrow actually coming in. But in comes the bouncing bomb. Saved by the spell shield. Somehow, Remix limps out of bot lane there.
Where was the spell shield on the hook? He must have had it popped by a satchel or something, or just blocked a bomb. Really interesting stuff, but he has to pop the heal, has to put the flash once again. So once again, this early game composition is not going to be able to contest dragons with their summoners. Little individual errors are costing them team play opportunities, which is incredibly crucial to play like this. You cannot draft early game compositions and mess up the early game like this. It's just really not allowed. And now Domino are going to take full advantage of this, take their second dragon with an outscaling composition.
There it is, dragon number 2. Let's see what the soul is going to be. It's a Hextech soul as well. So, got those kind of AoE slows coming in from Laurie's Qs, which is going to be extra unfun for the side of Nativz. A bit more CDR as well, means you can get the Last Breath and Moonfall combination down, or Last Moonfall. It's a nice little combo name for it.
Honestly, I hate Hextech Soul. Sorry. Whilst you were talking about it, I was just thinking about how much I hate Hextech Soul. I don't know if you played against it much, but
I've played
when you
against
get
it
slowed, it is so brutal. It gives you damage and slow, like on a chain, like static shiv effect. I absolutely despise it, honestly. I think it's one of the most broken, if not the most broken dragon. But this tower is so low right now. I think one more Demolish Proc and he gets put to pretty low HP. He might be able to take this solo, especially now that plates are going to fall in a couple minutes.
Just kind of going back to the Hextech Soul. I think the reason we just accepted it last season was because we had Chemtexol at the beginning of the season, and like that was infinitely worse. So everyone went, yeah, Hexexol's fine, because like by comparison, it was actually just infinitely better than what we got. I like the new Chemtech.
Ooh, this flank.
It is good flank coming in. They actually do get the jump down onto Seabull. He tries to jump away. Shaolin flashes. He's got a minion wave to chase with. So not going to be under any real threat here. Spooder takes the blast cone and the belly bop away to safety, as it does look like Domino are on the hunt here, but Spooder is going to be able to just about get away, although Snabby has found him. Isn't going to go in for the hook. It's just going to walk away. So they take away a couple of jungle camps. They got that first tower blood for themselves as well. And the Ziggs bomb means this tower not really under any real threat here, as Baloo just going to eat a tower shot. The Leandries, sorry, actually went for the Leandries over the Ludens. Been a hot minute since I've seen Ziggs bulk, to be fair. Effectively exactly the same, though. Like, you can still one-shot the waves with this build versus, you know, what he could do earlier. So at this point, bot lane is relatively safe for the side of Larry to be working with. You can just clear these waves and not be under any real threat. With the Rift Herald spawning up soon as well, I'm expecting to see the likes of Domino rotate over towards that and look to pick it up. Obviously, wanting to get that Rift Herald and hopefully take this mid tower down, unlike their previous attempt, which was thwarted by the side of Nativz.
No, absolutely. And like you said, that wave clear coming down from the Ziggs means there's no cross-map opportunity. Yes, he's down CS, but does it matter? Like, the Ziggs is unlocked to be able to just sit down bot side without, you know, being under any threat of dive, whilst Nautilus, Snabby on this Nautilus, can just run around making plays. And this is exactly what we said in draft. Now, the Yasuo, Diana, Nautilus combo is here, and you just cannot contest any neutrals, and you also cannot cross-map. So effectively, just domination from the side of Domino. They just... I hate that pun. Jesus Christ. That was... that was, really, really solid play, because there's no proactive play Nativz can make.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Unfortunately, they do pay the price a little bit on that one, and with the Rift Herald going down, Domino going to be uncontested on this one. Expectation is it's going to go into that mid lane, as does look like Nativz actually sending multiple people over towards bot side. Ziggs bomb's about to come back up for Larry, though, so he can just clear this wave out from the distance if he needs to. Seabull will give himself away, and just watch for the Ziggs bomb. It's going to take out so much of this wave. Seabull can't really step up any further now, but the bombs are on the floor. He does have to be careful because he's getting jumped onto. They're bringing the teleport in. He dodges away. A great hook comes in. Larry flashes away. Seabull's going to get finished up with the tower. Bomb lands onto Remix. No spell shield anymore. And Flumpbun will chase him down. Great slow coming in, but in comes Shackle. Going to jump in forward, secure that kill with the dash forwards. And actually, they are continuing the chase here for Flumpbun as he takes an unleashed power. Is going a little bit low. Snabby jumps in with the hook into the last breath. Spooder gets the belly bop off, and Flumpbun goes down. Shutdown picked up for Flumpbun, but at the end of the day, Domino absolutely crushing that team fight in the bot lane.
And Spood just comes in just in time to pick up a consolation prize for the side of Nativz. Finally, something in return. But Flumpbun, honestly, overreaching there a little bit. You can see in this replay, he doesn't really need to go forward here. The play is won. You've essentially secured vision for your team now because you have taken solo kills. And you can wait for the minion waves to crash, then move together and zone off XP or dive afterwards. Regardless, the play works out. Flumpbun loses his life, but then you get the Yasuo and the Nautilus combination. It's so easy for the side of Domino to proc this Yasuo ulti. There's so many knockups, and once again, a testament to their really easy and good drafts. Not necessarily meta, but really well-made, constructed, and they're all on theme.
Absolutely. Really, really nice stuff coming in from these guys. 18 minutes on the clock. Gold lead very comfortably in favor of Domino right now. Just rocking a 6k gold lead over their opponents as Shaolin got himself 3 items on the Yasuo shield bow. Got that zeal. So he's at 100% crit now. As Yasuo passive is fun. And also building that BF sword. So I'm assuming we're going to see the Infinity Edge come out from him soon. Obviously, new and improved Infinity Edge. Actually, kind of doesn't matter for Yasuo because he never really struggled with it thanks to his passive. But, you know, we'll probably be building towards that one. As, on the side of Remix, actually, not going for the Navari second, is rocking a Vamp Scepter. Curious what he's going to be building here. Obviously, there were a few changes. Oh, Remix! Able to survive thanks to his spell shield. There were a few changes to Bloodthirster on the patch we're currently playing on. bit better as a later scaling item, more than a kind of second item build here, but maybe he feels he just needs that added security. Maybe there's another item I'm totally missing here that he's picking up with that Vamp Scepter.
I think it's probably the Vamp Scepter, right? I think the idea is probably he's getting poked a lot and he wants to be able to stay in permapush. I've seen Vamp Scepter like early. I saw it last patch in the LPL on some picks versus like double ranged. Snabby?
He's got Spell Shield. He's going to be A-okay. Pops the ultimate as well there. Don't really think there's too much his team can do with that. Remix is honestly playing with fire, but Snabby just is kind of missing a lot of hooks. And at the end of the day, it's working in his favor. He's able to hold out as the Ash Arrow does connect here. Spooder's going to throw the casket in. They just bop him straight back into the middle of the team. Remix finds himself the kill. Lovely little pick there with the Ash Arrow.
And you gotta feel bad for Spooder. He gets placed on weak side, and everything is, you know that meme of the dog with the house is on fire? That's just what it feels like to be Spooder right now. He's left lane, and everything is on fire. He's trying to make plays and maybe band-aid everything back together, but he's gonna have to do a lot of band-aiding. Everything is not going well, and he is, granted, he's doing pretty good. I'd look at maybe getting a bounty onto the Yasuo, you know, that 500 gold bounty here. Avenues he can come back in, probably picking off the Yasuo and the Diana, but then you're picking them off together and their combo is really potent. So honestly, on Domino to mess up right now. But again, I just look at that bounty and it's pretty juicy.
Actually, does look like it's going to be the Bloodthirster second here for Remix, unless he's going Infinity Edge second. Just
probably second after Vamp. Yeah.
I feel like that's probably going to be the option for him. Obviously, you know, enough life steal from Vamp Scepter.
Sorry, rather, Navori. Navori second for Severe, I'm pretty sure, is meta right now. Good enough wave clear and stuff like this, because the CDR is pretty good.
But he's got a BF sword. So that means he has to be going Bloodthirster then, instead of Navori.
Oh gosh, I've forgotten the build path in Navori.
It's Warhammer, Pickaxe, and Crit Cloak.
Oh, okay. That is a strange build path. Okay.
Yeah, so he's either going Bloodthirster like second, just because he's worried about Shackle and Shaolin killing him, and obviously you get a lot larger shield once you're like that post 9. So he is level 12, so the shield is going to be actually very effective for him. I can't remember what number it goes up to now. I did check it out earlier. I want to say like 600, but I might be wrong. That might be quite a big
might
shield.
be overshooting a little bit. That sounds absolutely nuts.
I need to look it up.
Yeah.
Hold on. But I'm typing it.
It is a lot stronger, right? It will essentially make you a little bit beefier. It won't stop you dying, though, right? Riot explicitly stated that the new Bloodthirster changes won't stop you dying, but they will make you a little bit beefier, you know, at level 16 or so. Level 18, you're still going to get one shot, you know. It won't stop you dying to this 3-0 Yasuo who's almost got Infinity Edge, and the Diana who's sitting on almost 10 stacks of Darksteel and 2 items, right? It's not going to be enough for that, but it will make you slightly tankier if you need it.
Well, the League of Legends website is bugging out for me, so I can't find it. But yeah, you're probably right. 600 is absolutely crazy. But he has got Bloodthirster. It's so funny, because me and Aragon, when we were doing our prep today, I was like, I can't remember the last time I've seen someone build a Bloodthirster. It's been so long. I was like, most of the time you see someone pick it up, it's got like a 5th, 6th item, and they just want a little bit more sustain for the later game fights. But I guess Remix that he's very nervous about the amount of poke that Larry can put down, because I guess when you're playing into something like a Ziggs lane, or even just into a Ziggs game, you obviously have to worry about getting poked out, and then it just gives Diana and Yasuo that go button, and they can jump into you. There's only so much you can spell shield. As long as the Moonfall hits, you're pretty much guaranteed to go down if you've lost like a half your health to just a couple of Ziggs bombs. So I guess the sustain makes sense on that front, why he's opted into that. I assume it'll be Navari next, coming in from him, but we can talk about his build path as he progresses on in this game. Right now, Domino doing a very good job of just controlling the state of this game. I do think, though, Nativz showing a little bit more life than maybe I expected. I kind of expect him to roll over, but they have had a few opportunities where they've used the team comp they've built well to be able to pick. Obviously, the big one was that kill on Flumpen in the mid lane when he was underneath tier 2. Ash Arrow into Cask, into Scal of the Week. I mean, you're just not moving on that one. As we are, as you can see, having a few technical issues right now. Hence the constant in and out and the pauses, but hopefully we'll have that resolved fairly soon. You know, it wouldn't be an NLC show without technical delays, because that's I can't think of it's always the case. I've been doing this for long enough to know we always have technical delays.
Yeah. I mean, throwback to when I played UKLC, I think we paused for 20 minutes, asked for pause time from the enemy team. But anyway, just bringing it back to the team comp and the fact that they've shown glimmers of life. I kind of disagree with you. I think they are kind of rolling over. But it's a testament to the picks, testament to Spuda rather, that he's finding picks constantly. If you take a look at the games and how they secure kills, you know, a lot of it is on the back of Spuda. He gets a lot of solo kills in lane. I think he's like second place for solo kill lead in top lane. And you can just see that he's the playmaker, right? He comes out of lane. Unfortunately, top lane's a little bit irrelevant and he likes to play weak side, so that isn't as possible early. He comes out of lane and he just finds these kills, or he finds kills on Cassante as well in lane. And you can see that he's finding picks onto this Fjumpun. Fjumpun has built to be quite squishy, right? He is building, I believe he's built Gore Drinker into Bork, which is probably one of the squishiest iterations of the Gore Drinker build that you can go, but it will give him side lane priority the entire time. So what they can do here with this build is just permanently side lane, get vision on one side, you know, deny vision, then make picks using this Diana, Yasuo, Nautilus, Yasuo as the double AD carry composition tried to face check. Granted, you do have Ashe Hawkshot, so it's a little bit safer alongside the blue trinkets. All right, you can see they are loaded on blue trinkets, you know, the mid laner and the AD carry. But that's exactly what I expect to do. And as you can see, Nativz are terrified of checking for this spawning dragon. Although the Ashe Arrow has been pulled, I don't think anything's going to happen.
A little bit rough for them now. Ashe Arrow on cooldown. Dragon up in another 17 seconds. Obviously, it's fairly short at this point in the game, the cooldown on those Ashe Arrows. Already almost halfway back off cooldown. So, you know, quite comfortable just to be able to throw these out. Shackle coming in on the potential flank here. Goes in! The free-man moonfall! Shaolin has an easy time tidying this one up. The tornado secures him the double. And that was an absolute just whitewash of a fight. They absolutely destroyed them there. Spuda is going to teleport out. Doesn't want to be dealing with this. Absolutely beautiful flash moonfall into that last breath.
And Shackle, we mentioned his name in Champ Select, but he has been performing so well in the short amount of time that he's been on the team. He is making these plays constantly, finding the right engages in team fights and skirmishes. And now you could see that after that beautiful engage, they're going to find Dragon and Baron. And yeah, good luck defending a siege versus a Baron up Ziggs.
Oh, unbelievable. That was disgusting coming in. Obviously, the Infinity Edge on Shaolin making life a little bit harder now that he's got that finished up. Larry got the Shadow Flame as well with that Leandries, so he has got a lot of poke, and this is getting scary for the side of Nativz. And that Bloodthirster isn't really going to do too much about the sustain. I was saying they're not rolling over. Looks like they've kind of rolled over at this point. You know, Soul over, 25 minutes. I might have been a little bit wrong on that one, to be honest. I think the game is very much in Domino's favor right now. And Shaolin needs to be careful. He's going to face check into the bush. Eats the Ashe Arrow. Does throw it out. Gets just too much CC. Shutdown went to Siebel, though. Probably the worst person there who could have picked it up. Like, you could have given that over to the Syndra. You could have given it over to the Sivir. But unfortunately, Siebel does get it. So, honestly, for Domino, that's a bit of a win. But they lost the shutdown. But ultimately, it went on to the kind of earlier jungler who's 1-4 right now. And, yeah, it'll get him closer, or even his second item finished up, but he's a Xin Zhao, man. Like, you wanted that Shadow Flame picked up onto Unexpected. You wanted to be closer towards his Navari for remix. And it is definitely going to put them on the back foot for now.
And whilst you say it's a win for Domino, realistically, what else could Nativz do, right? This is the classic, guys, we need them to mess up and face check us. Let's send everyone to a random bush on the map and hope they face check. And that's exactly what they did, and props to them, they found something, but you just lose about 1,500 gold worth in towers. And once again, they're going to keep doing this, because you know in comms, that's all they're saying. Guys, let's hope they face check us, right? That's absolutely the play, and you always see the games come down to this, especially when someone has Hextech Soul. So what I expect to see from Domino is more controlled, you know, face checking with the Nautilus, with that Renekton, who's super beefy right now, and they're just unburstable, right? And that way you set up vision bot side while sieging that tier 2 bot side, and you just end the game straight through there.
Oh, looks like they are just going to be sieging through that bot lane. I also feel like Domino probably not going to make that same mistake again. I think that was a one-off of Shaolin face checking into bushes.
Yeah.
I feel like he's learned his lesson. You know, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. They're just going to, as you can see, they're just moving. They're more comfortable face checkers through the jungle to clear out vision, make sure they know where Nativz are, and then they're just letting Larry and Shaolin shove out the waves, because between the two of them with the satchel charges, these waves don't last long. But in comes the Ashe Arrow. They do throw out the ultimate there from Remix as well, but the wind wall, like we kind of predicted, does just deny that entirely. And Flumpman, meanwhile, with the Baron buff on the mid lane, just making sure that this wave does continue to shove in here. And all it really takes is another one of those big Diana ultimates, and this could just be the final nail in the coffin here for the side of Nativz. Domino did a fantastic job of controlling this one here. You see the Ziggs bombs, the Hextech Soul Procs as well, just doing so much work. Look at the damage onto Unexpected, getting heavily chunked out. But to be fair to the side of Nativz, this is what we were talking about. They do have a lot of wave clear, and now that the Baron has fallen off, it's actually very hard for Domino to siege onto these lanes. Even with the poke coming in, they have enough wave clear between the Syndra and the Sivir just to be able to chunk out these waves, as Larry does take a couple of tower shots there in response.
Yeah, the wave clear is really good. Check out these waves on the side wave though. Typically when you're sieging, you want to make sure the waves crash at the exact same time. And top lane is going in, and they're not perfectly in sync, Domino, here with this siege. The waves are kind of crashing staggered, which means Nativz can actually follow Domino around as they go for one wave at a time, which means in the end that the siege does not happen, right? I'll be honest, I was kind of scared there for Nativz. I thought that pretty much Shackle could actually go for that even under tower. Granted, is the only way Domino loses, right? So maybe they just play the slow game, say, guys, let's just end this game. Matters a lot. We are very similar in standings. We need to win. But I saw Shackle had a stopwatch. I saw, you know, they're 20,000 gold ahead. Let's just go for it, you know? But it does look like Fjumpman might have overstayed his welcome and died to Sebel.
Yeah, he does.
Don't think it'll happen.
Get clipped by the E there from Sebel, but he's level 16. He is hard to kill as Remix jumps away, but they are going to chase him. Mega Inferno Bomb lands as well. He's ignited. He's low, but he's able to survive for just a little bit longer. His tower won't be quite so lucky. Domino able to force the flash and the heal out of Remix, and now Flumpman needs to be dealt with on the top side of the map. Meanwhile, bot side also pushing in response. Remix actually looking at the build, going for the Infinity Edge. You can see the Ash Arrow come down, eaten up once again by the Wind Wall. Kind of what we expected from this pickup here. And ultimately, Nativz do still hang on to their base. Yes, they lose their mid lane turret there, but they don't lose the inhibitor. They can still catch the waves. And I think this actually kind of goes back to just Domino not syncing up their waves like you were hitting on. You know, these are kind of silly mistakes that you do see coming out of some of the teams. You know, basic sieging macro is making sure that you have the waves synced up and you are crashing them at the right time.
But can I just say, what a beautiful draft. I went up and looked who the coach is, and I don't know if the coach, because sometimes players do drafts, right? But, you know, if you are the coach and you did this, we can already see the players on the team who might have drafted. Scythe, I believe your name is. This is a beautiful draft. You know, your drafts are very good. I really love this Yasuo pick into the Ashe, because the Ashe strength is just gone, you know? Yes, Ashe Arrow might have a 30-second cooldown, but that's the same cooldown as Windwall, if not lower, you know? I believe it's 25 seconds at base rank. So what can you do? You just have no engage window. You just get sieged upon. You can't hard engage into the Ziggs to stop the siege, and you just eventually lose, getting slow pushed down, getting sieged down rather, just getting poked down with the towers, and eventually they're just going to lose the Nexus.
Yes, and I think we're at the point as well where we kind of hit on the scaling, and that scaling is very much come alive. I think there is still a little bit of hope in the sense where, like, Remix can get to a point where, you know, he could potentially carry a team fight if he's given the space. The problem is when a Nautilus ult chases you, when a Diana chases you, with a Yasuo who can follow up, it's very hard for him to actually buy himself that space and get that opportunity. It's about to get harder though, unless Seaball makes the steal. He's not going to be able to do it. Instantly picked up with the Gift of the Elder and the Mega Inferno Bomb coming down. It is now a 4 versus 5 for the next 40 seconds. Domino, they can turn their attention towards Baron and play this by the books, or they can just use their power and their strength on the map right now to strong-arm themselves into the base. We've still got 30 seconds until Sebel comes back up, so they may just look for this inhibitor and then look to back off.
Yeah, I don't even think they're going to care. They're just going to barrel it down mid lane. I think they're going to brute force it, Hitbrain, like you said. They don't have to be scared. They have Elder. I think a single bomb half hits someone, so it looks like they're going to dive without any cares in the world, and it's going to be the end.
Oh, Spooner jumps away. There we go. A massive Yasuo ult with the Gift of the Elder. The last couple of members full, and Domino put on a very, very good game to open it up. Absolutely massive win over the side of Nativz, and unfortunately for Nativz, 0-7 now going into week 4. It has not been a good start to the season at all.
Yeah, beautiful bit of team play from Shackle especially. Getting those engages constantly, finding those crucial team fights, getting those 3-man, those 4-man ultimates into the Yasuo combination. They pull it off. They draft something a bit unconventional, but it works. And it counters the enemy team comp, which is actually meta as well.
Yeah, no, honestly, really, really good stuff coming in from Domino. Really solid draft, actually. And, you know, I think there were definitely still a few mistakes in some areas. I think Flumpbun was very prone to overstaying in whatever lane he goes. I mean, that kind of like Hail Mary pick in the mid lane with the Ash Arrow and everything, it looked really good. But you know, I'll sing the praises of Nativz draft on that front for like being able to kind of, you know, utilize the tools they have to get those picks. But a lot of the picks coming out from Nativz were more from Domino just making silly mistakes. Like, you know, Yasuo walking into a bush without having any idea where anyone is. Like, you know, these kind of little mistakes versus a better team could cost you a lot more. But Domino really playing their draft incredibly well there. And honestly, just a really solid game coming out of those guys. I think, you know, hats off to them for a solid draft and just executing it pretty well. You know, that was I'd say a good 70 to 80% perfect execution from them on that front. You know, a few little mistakes here and there, but Domino definitely looking good. And we've had this thought about Domino for a while. You know, you look at their game versus Riddle where they had a 5k gold lead. Sure, they lost that game, but man, they have had this like kind of shining light within them, this capability to be a way better team than what we're seeing from them. And, you know, yes, they just beat Nativz, the team who are currently at the bottom, so we can't get too carried away. But I do want to see more of this Domino. I want to see more of a confident Domino, a team who draft very, very solid team comps and actually execute on them very well.
Yeah, and I just want to say my vote for MVP is probably gonna be Shackle. I think it was between him and Nautilus. Nautilus and the Diana, they both found such good engages and played the team fights well. But those engages on the Diana, I think that's probably going to be my MVP vote. What about you,
yeah. No, I totally agree. I was thinking you are kind of right about the Naut there. Really, really good stuff coming out from them. But I think Shackle definitely was MVP for that game. You know, just really, really clean ultimates. I mean, the defining ultimate was that flash from the Raptors into the 3 squishies, catching them, getting the Yasuo on. You know, at that point, the game was already in a rough spot, and that was kind of just sealing the deal that this game was going to be so far out of Nativ's grasp. And Shackle did it once more. I think twice more, actually. I can't remember how many times we saw the combo, but definitely at least 2 times, and they were always really, really powerful. I mean, that final ult we saw out of him, Shackle, was only not a 4-man, because someone stopwatched. That was the only reason they didn't get a 4-man Yasuo Diana combo there. Just really, really clean stuff coming out from those guys. We will have our winners and losers interviews coming up shortly. We are just waiting to see where they are before we get into this. But yeah, I just really, really good stuff out of Domino. I think, you know, it's obviously them versus the bottom tier team in the league. So, you know, there is an argument to be made of expectations were met on that front. But, you know, what do you think the key problem's been for these guys then versus some, let's say, the better teams? Because, I mean, they had a 5k lead versus Riddle, right? So, like, they're not an inherently bad team. I think their scoreline might be a little bit disingenuous of the actual capability of this team, right?
Yeah, so I think they've been decent for a while, right? I voted Domino when they've lost a couple times, I believe, because I've seen such glimmers of hope. But then they've thrown their leads and they just seemed inconsistent. It does seem like now they have the ability to close out games when they're given a lead, though, right? Yes, you lost your lead versus Riddle, but you're versus Riddle. You know, like, that's an extremely strong team, probably the best in the league. Well, debatable, right? We're going to see that next. But no, the strength of Domino to me is their top side, right? I think they've rotated junglers to find the perfect fit, and they went through Porcupine, I believe, and now they've got Shackle, and I think he's amazing, right? I think they found the perfect fit, and they can keep going with this, right? Fjompbun, guaranteed winning lane most of the time. I think he's probably top 3 top laner right now, right? He's definitely a shining light of this team alongside Shackle, and their bot lane doesn't in, right? They have their strong side top, they have their weak side bot, they have a clear identity, and they have strong drafts. So I think they've got all the recipes for success.
Yeah, I think, you know, they're definitely set up to, excuse me, they are definitely set up to kind of show us, you know, maybe a higher climb. I guess the question is where do we think they're going to end? And I'm definitely going to ask them this when we get into interview. Yeah. Where do they actually realistically see themselves ending? Because obviously they haven't had the greatest start, but they've definitely shown us a lot of capabilities. So I am very excited for that. But we actually have Spooder standing by for our interview. So let's bring him in. Spooder, how are you doing, mate? You all right?
Hello. I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm doing really, really good. Now, I think we kind of have to address the elephant in the room. 0-7 now. Not the greatest start to the season. What do you think's been going wrong for you guys? And, how are you going to fix it going into the second half of the split?
From what I've noticed, since I'm usually just vibing top lane, is I think we're not proactive enough. Like, I'm not completely sure. I'll have to take a look at this game, when we do. But I think we're not proactive enough because I see enemies making plays, and I think we're not responding with the same type of, aggression. And I think aggression is very important in a meta like this because it's very, fight heavy, right? You want to look for the fights bot lane, you want to look for the catches, etc. But I think we're missing out on that part specifically.
Yeah, I mean, that's completely fair. I was also wondering about, are you guys settled on identity now? Because at the start of the split, you guys had a couple different kinds of drafts, right? I know you've just swapped out jungler, so it's hard to say, but you've had scrims, right? I assume with this new jungler. Because at the start, you had sometimes unexpected on enchanters. Now you had unexpected on Victor and Syndra. What are you guys settling on? Have you got any styles that you think going forward will work for you? You don't have to leak it much if you don't want to.
No, of course. I'm not going to leak anything. But naturally, you try stuff and you find what works best, right? Maybe next thing we try is our golden style, and we'll go 7-7, That's the big dream. But we just have to find something that fits for every single player in the team and, that gives us as many advantages as possible.
Awesome. Well, Spooder, sorry about the loss. Unfortunate one there, but hopefully we can see you guys bounce back as we do head towards that second half of the season. Thank you very much for joining us, mate, and we will speak to you later, all right?
Yep. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
All right.
See you later, mate. And here we go. We got Domino. How are we standing by? Pretty confident win there coming in from you guys. How are you guys feeling after that one?
Hey, good evening, NLC fans. It's been very nice to see the guys winning lately, and I have to credit our coach Saif for making this draft. So he was kind of the mastermind behind this, and I have to say I also do like these kind of classic comps. I know it's never lucky to make it similar with the solo queue, but this is when you see such drafts, you hit the X at the right corner and dodge it, because it's so easy to execute. And I also have to credit the guys, all the players, to managed also to execute this comp almost perfectly. So this was very important to us, this win, and hopefully we have a nice confidence boost out of it, and we'll keep going.
Yeah, and just piggybacking off of that, you said, credit to your coach, Saif. I've heard a lot of good things about him. I believe he came from NA, right? But he drafts extremely well. I've been really impressed with the past two games. What I'm trying to get at is the fact that his drafts, they require a level of play too. I've noticed that you guys draft a lot of flex picks. Is this because your teammate, you guys practice playing a lot of different styles? The ability to have champion pools. Is everyone extremely flexible?
Yes, it took a little more time for us to get to this point where all these players are confident with these flex picks, but we were always try to do such high-level comps where all players can choose flex picks to both of the lanes, and it requires practice, but as we are doing a lot of scrims lately, I think slowly it's really getting together with all the players and the coach. And as we proceed to the middle of the plays, then we are learning how to execute these comps.
It does look like there's been, some improvement within your team. Obviously, we talked about it a little bit, but obviously you had a 5k lead, 5k gold lead over Riddle. Unfortunate loss, but we are seeing these constant moments from Domino. We're like, wow, these guys are better than their scoreline is showing. So I kind of want to lead that into, where do you think you guys are going to end the season on? Where's your expectation? Because yes, it's been a bit of a rough start for you guys, but I think we've seen some really serious improvement from your team. So where are you guys expecting to kind of end the season at?
Yeah, at the top. No, I think I think there can be no other goal. So it's either win or lose for us. Okay, so if I want to be realistic, then it's definitely the playoffs we are about to aim. But with these improvements we are showing week to week, I think we can make it to the top 4 teams. But of course, our goal is to reach the highest rankings, and yeah, the guys are doing pretty good, and the draft's getting alive, and all this starting to get together. So I'm very proud of the team and of the players, and hopefully we are keep up the good work.
I like it. We have a shoot for the stars goal of just winning the whole thing, and then a realistic goal of playoffs. And I think hopefully both are within reaching grasp for you guys. Thank you very much for joining us, and congratulations on the win. Really, really solid stuff coming in, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the future. We'll see you later, mate.
Thank you. Goodbye.
And for you guys at home, we are going to be getting ready to go into our match of the week. I am super excited for this one. Coming up after the break, we have ourselves Nord taking on Riddle. Both of the 6-0 teams will be going toe-to-toe. Who's going to win? I don't know. Let's find out. We'll see you in a moment.